people like to see the progress of where you started to where you are currently. So imagine being able to directly connect with your audience and talk to them without actually having to give personal information that you didn't want to, or that you didn't want them to have, right? And that doesn't say that you're trying to hide something from them, but you don't have to necessarily tell them your whole life story to have them believe what you're already trying to tell them, or whatever product you're trying to give to them. In my opinion, and this took a very long time for me to understand, in my opinion, social media should not be used for personal use, right? Of course, a lot of people do that, but because it's such a versatile and easy way to connect to any type of audience, right? If you have a business, you should automatically have a social media profile for all the type of major platforms that they have out there.
Welcome back to another masterclass with 7 Ways to Wealth. Today we are going live with a special guest. His name is Alexander Turner, and he is the founder of SportsTalk with the Turners and Athletes Wisdom. He is also the co-founder of Social Currencies and BA Social Currencies. He has helped hundreds of business owners establish $1.5 million in personal and business funding.
Thank you. I appreciate it. How's everyone doing today? Doing pretty well? Drop some ones in the chat if you're doing good. If you're not doing good, you can still drop some ones in the chat. You're here, so that's always a win, right? I like it. If you haven't already, could I get access to share my screen?
Yes, you have access.
Thank you. So I am here to, as Christina has said, I've helped business owners acquire a little bit over $1.5 million in personal and business funding. And it wasn't just myself, it's been my team as well. Believe it or not, somebody on my team is actually on this call, Bruce Hill, so I appreciate you jumping on. But yeah, I also work with college athletes to help them build a brand so they can actually start monetizing their name, image, and likeness, which is also known as NIL, on that college platform. It's a very new thing. So in that process, one of the things that I teach them is how to utilize social media to their advantage and why social media is important. So that's just a little bit of what I'll be speaking to you all today. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my screen real quick. We'll go ahead and get started. Let me know when you all can see my screen. Should already be up.
Yeah, we can see your screen, Alex.
Okay, perfect. So I'll be going over the importance of social media, and I'll also be a little later sharing a template with you all as far as like a social media SOP. If you're not familiar with what SOP stands for, it just stands for Standard Operating Procedures. So that's basically, let's just say, somebody applies to work at a job at McDonald's, right? 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be taught person to person through every step of their way. That VCR tape or that DVD that they pop in and it kind of goes through the basics of what they need to do, that's essentially what a SOP is. So I'll go ahead and dive in. And if you all have any questions, you can definitely just drop them in the chat and I would love to answer them, all right? So social media marketing, right? So social media is actually the second best form of marketing, not only for yourself, but your business. Why? Of course, I'll get to that in a second. And like I said, it's the second best. So you might wonder what the first is. If you do think you know what the first is, go ahead and drop it in the chat for me. What do you think the first best, the number one best form of marketing is? Go ahead and drop your answers in the chat of what you might think that answer is. It's okay if you say the wrong thing. It's even better if you say the right thing. My chat is not popping up. Okay. That's all right. So what are some of the answers? Will somebody mind just blurting out the answer? Because my chat won't pop up, so unfortunately I can't see it.
I got you. Somebody said word of mouth. Somebody said network marketing.
Essentially, network marketing is similar, but it is word of mouth. Word of mouth is the number one best form of marketing. But when you master social media, you automatically master the first form, right? So the way you do that is just think about it. When we're on social media, when we see something we like, the first thing we do is, of course, we actually like it. But the second thing we do is we share that with somebody who we also might think who we also might think will like that same thing. And that's essentially the same thing as word of mouth, just on a digital space. So, some of the official marketing channels that are best to use, not only for your personal brand, but for your business brand as well, is TikTok, simply because it's very popular on a lot of viral trends, right? TikTok is actually probably one of the leaders in the social media space currently because of what I like to call its popcorn effect, which is a lot of people nowadays have short attention spans. So TikTok can give you that quick, right? That quick popcorn effect, as in what's going on right now, but also that euphoria of whether it's laughing or quick information or whatever the case may be. LinkedIn is great for, of course, B2B, business to businesses, simply because when you're looking to network, right? And somebody said network marketing, essentially that's networking in a marketing environment. LinkedIn helps you connect with business owners better rather than trying to find, say, a business owner on any of the other social platforms, simply because a lot of people who are going to be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, they might not all be businesses. And sometimes you might just want to directly talk to another business just to see what type of partnerships and collaborations that you all can perform. Facebook, in my opinion, is so unique because it's so versatile, right? Of the five that you see on here, Facebook is probably the oldest. I'm not sure which one came out first between Facebook and Twitter, but I want to say it might have been Facebook. But Facebook, because it's been out for so long and they have such a dominant, pull in the space, it's been able to kind of build such a versatile way in how you can use it, right? A lot of ads run through Facebook, and especially since they own Instagram, right? It lets you connect to Instagram while still being able to use essentially the same platform. It also allows you to sell things on Facebook in so many other ways that makes it such a versatile platform. Instagram, which is my personal favorite, simply because it kind of meshes the Facebook and TikTok, collab. But Instagram is not only versatile, but it's extremely convenient, right? You can still interact with people in a way in which you would on Facebook, but you can still also get that popcorn effect, like I said, when it comes to TikTok. And then, of course, Twitter. A lot of people like to sleep on Twitter nowadays simply because it's been out for a while and people think it's dying off. But Twitter is honestly one of the best places to do brain dump ideas, right? So when it comes to, say, and I heard this from Alex Hormozy, essentially, right, instead of creating a text thread with yourself or writing in your notes all the time, or even creating an email thread, right, of all your business ideas, you can post that. You can make it as a tweet on Twitter. And then depending on how your community interacts with it, you can then use that as business ideas and content later down the line. So why is social media so important? Social media essentially allows you to be your authentic self within your brand, while also allowing you direct access to whatever your audience or your consumers is, right? So let's just say for myself, I, of course, deal with business owners, but also deal with college athletes. Because I am not currently a college athlete, right? How else would I be able to easily talk to a wide range of college athletes? It's honestly just isn't feasible. I'd have to basically make a road trip and go from city to city, state to state, trying to go to schools and then find these college athletes, rather than, let's just say, on Facebook, I can join a group where it has a lot of college athletes in it, or let's just say on Instagram, right? I can follow these college athletes. And generally when you follow someone, right, there's a drop down bar of similar profiles that are related to whatever that profile is. So if I'm following a college athlete, 9 times out of 10, the people that they show under it will be another college athlete, right? Or let's just say if you're doing credit, you follow a credit page who's always talking about credit and credit hacks and how to build your credit, both whether it's personal or business. 9 times out of 10, somebody in the pages that drop down below are going to be another credit page, or at least a business that might be utilizing credit in some way. So it allows you to touch your audience and touch your consumer base much more easily without having to waste a lot of time finding them and wasting a lot of time trying to go through leads. Another reason why another reason why social media is so important is because it allows you to nurture your leads, right? So you get a chance not only to nurture your audience, your targeted audience, but you're able to get feedback from them, right? You're able to see their comments, what they're saying about you, whether it's good or bad. And honestly, anything bad, in my opinion, is good because that's constructive criticism, right? 9 times out of 10, they're telling you something that otherwise you might not have been able to think of, and will ultimately help your business. It also builds the relationship between your audience and creates something that I call a know, like, trust factor. So think about it like this. Whenever you purchase a product from somebody online, 9 times out of 10, you have either done research about what that product is, you've heard somebody talk about that product, or you've seen the product already in person, which is why you now trust it, right? So social media allows you to essentially do all of those things in one. So think about it like this. If I'm trying to sell you a credit ebook, right? You're not just going to offer it by the credit ebook because it has a good title. I could create a credit ebook that says how to build your credit score to 820 in 3 simple steps. It sounds nice, but you're not just going to give me money automatically just because it sounds nice, right? You're going to want to look at, the people who have commented on it, or the people who have testimonials about it, or you're going to look at my page and see what I know before you actually try to just say, oh, I'm just going to spend money on this person off rip, right? So that nurturing, that building the relationship, you're able to respond to their comments when they have questions. If somebody DMs you, you're able to respond to the DM or give them more value, right? As a basically in a face-to-face way, but digitally. So now they know about you because they've seen you. Now, because of the value you bring and the value you've given them, they start to like you. And now they actually trust you enough to where you're like, okay, now I trust this person so much, or at least enough that I'm comfortable buying their product. Rather than, let's just say, if somebody meets you in person, I meet, say Christina in person is my first time meeting her. She tells me she does credit. Yeah, she might seem like a nice person, which she is. She seems like a nice person, but off rip, just meeting her one time, that doesn't automatically mean I'm going to buy her products immediately. I'm still going to want to see some of the proof and the progress rather than just automatically taking her word for it, right? It also allows you to engage, right? It builds engagement. You get to talk with your audience essentially directly. No wait times, no missed emails, no fluff, right? Because like I said, social media allows you to be your true and authentic self. You don't have to fake it until you make it anymore. People like to see the progress of where you started to where you are currently. So imagine being able to directly connect with your audience and talk to them without actually having to give personal information that you didn't want to, or that you didn't want them to have, right? And that doesn't say that you're trying to hide something from them, but you don't have to necessarily tell them your whole life story to have them believe what you're already trying to tell them, or whatever product you're trying to give to them. In my opinion, and this took a very long time for me to understand, in my opinion, social media should not be used for personal use, right? Of course, a lot of people do that, but because it's such a versatile and easy way to connect to any type of audience, right? If you have a business, you should automatically have a social media profile for all the type of major platforms that they have out there. It also helps you gain recognition, right? So we've all heard of the term viral. Oh, this went viral, that went viral, right? That is essentially a form of brand recognition. You're able to create content, and it has the capability of reaching tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, or even millions of people. It allows you to be able to touch so many people's hearts, minds, and souls, essentially, without having to literally talk to each and every person individually. Because let's be real, nobody has time for that if you're actually trying to run a business in the same process. So, but I want to say one thing about this. Your goal is not to go viral. Now, that doesn't mean you don't want to reach the maximum amount of people you can, because you do. But my definition of viral is, now, when I hopped on earlier, Mr. Orlando was talking about he's shadow banned, which unfortunately with Instagram's algorithm that I still don't fully understand, they shadow ban certain pages for whatever reason and then give a lot of light to other pages that might not necessarily deserve it or need it. So when becoming viral, right, of course you want to prevent overdoing it so you don't get shadow banned, but in the same sense, going viral is basically you're not getting a lot of views per se, and then all of a sudden one post takes off. Let's just say on average you're getting a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 views on your posts, on your reels. Then all of a sudden you post one reel and then it shoots off to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 views in a short period of time. Now, while that is a good thing, if you don't capitalize off of that, then you only had a viral moment, right? And every business's goal, if you're on social media, is to create that level of viralness, but on a consistent basis to where now it's normal, right? You're always getting those 10s to 20 to 30s to 100,000s or maybe millions of views on your posts consistently. Now you're not necessarily viral. Now you've created an audience, you've created a consumer base who is loyal to you and knows the value that you give and is consistent in wanting to support you in some way, shape, or form, whether that's just watching your content, whether that's purchasing from you, or so on and so forth. And then we all love this, right? Conversions. Social media helps you convert. If you build that know, like, trust factor, if you build the recognition, if you nurture your leads, right? If you continue to provide value and give them gems on whatever your specific niche is, then you will eventually start to convert sales on your products. Now, conversions equals sales and sales equals money, right? So let's just think about it like this. Let's just say you have a post that goes viral. The best thing you can do is post again, almost immediately, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be the same day, but you definitely don't want to go more than 24 hours from when that was posted to post again, because then you're losing the momentum that your page has, right? Like I said, I'm no guru on the Instagram algorithm, but I do know this one thing. If you're getting a lot of traffic to your page, why not post something again that catches the eyes of the people who are already looking at whatever you have to give, even if it's something funny, right? The three things that your social media should provide is entertainment, inspiration, and education, right? Now, your post can be a mixture of those. It can be 2 in one video, it can be another 2, it can be all 3, or it can be just one. But you still want to have either entertainment, education, or inspiration on whatever content you post, because that is what pushes the most. All right. Do we have any questions so far? You can feel free to unmute yourself. Any questions so far?
Good stuff, man. Keep going.
I appreciate it, right? So another thing that social media allows you to do, right? It lets people on a broader basis they're able to speak about what they think about your brand, right? And that's also called a testimonial. These are examples of testimonials, right? And these aren't from me personally. These are just examples that I gave for specific industries. And you can have one for fitness. You can have one for the financial tech industry, or even something that deals with mechanical engineering. But whatever the case is, right? Whenever somebody comments under your post, when somebody reposts your post or your story and they add a little comment to it, that, especially if it's positive, right? That's a testimonial. You want to make sure you're able to screenshot that. You want to make sure you're able to capture that and save it for later, because then, like I said earlier, that know, like, trust factor. Somebody's not just going to buy your product off rip just because you say it's great. They want to see what other people have to say about it. So using social media and using those comments, using people reposting your product and your services, right? Or even just your content, that is a testimonial without you even noticing it, because they're automatically giving you their review. Even if they say, this is so amazing, I love this content, boom, right? That's a testimonial, right? You will, of course, attach that content to whatever that testimonial is, just so it's relevant if they're not very specific. But 9 times out of 10, people are going to be specific. Like, take the Juliet example, right? Thanks to Sarah, I was able to grow my own social media and gain 5,000 new followers and even got 20 new clients, right? And she's a fitness coach. So basically, she was able to follow someone, and the value they brought on their content, that she started implementing it, and was able to gain 50,000 followers and even 20 clients. And like I said, this 20 clients is conversions. So not only was she able to gain notoriety of that viralness, she was also able to gain conversions, which led to sales. One thing that you want to do when on any type of social media platform is you want to touch on people's pain points, right? A lot of times people like to talk about what people enjoy, right? They want to talk about, oh, you should be doing this because it's amazing. You should be doing that because it can help you with this. No, I like to talk on people's pain points because people run from pain quicker than they run to pleasure. All right, I'll say that one more time. People run from pain quicker than they run to pleasure. So if you're able to make content that, of course, still provides value, but touches on people's pain points, right? You're giving them a solution to a problem they have without them even necessarily asking for it. All right. So how to use social media, right? What is the best way to use social media? Go ahead and drop some answers in the chat. What do you all think is the best way to use your social media? And there's no wrong answer here. I just want to see what you all think. And like I said, I can't see the chat. So if somebody wouldn't mind just letting me know what the answers are.
I think the best way is social proof. Somebody said live post. Kayla said live post. Colin said hashtags after every post.
Gotcha. So before I reveal the answer, I just want to kind of comment on all those. Technically, all of those are right in their own sense. And you said Colin said hashtags, right? So one thing that I have learned for me personally on my page, and every page is different because it depends on the niche and it depends on your audience, right? But for me personally, hashtags don't work as well as they used to. Not saying they don't work at all, because people still search for hashtags, but now, but with social media now and how it pushes content in the way it does, a lot of people don't necessarily need hashtags to find content, right? Like with Reels will push any random content, and it's not really random, it's based on things that you like and pay attention to, right? But they will push content for you to where you don't really have to look for hashtags. But the best way to use your social media is to just post. It doesn't necessarily matter what you post. Posting is the best way to use social media because you're putting yourself out there, right? I learned this from Grant Cardone, and Alex Hormozy phrased it best, right? A lot of times people are posting the right thing, they're just not posting enough of it. Think about it. If you post something and you realize it's getting a lot of traction, but then you wait another week or two to post something like it again, and then you're wondering, oh, why didn't it get that much traction this time? Because people forgot about you. You took so long, you took so long to post the content, they didn't even know you existed anymore. Honestly, I'm just going to be real with you. You have to stay fresh on people's mind. Like, you need to make sure you're posting. Honestly, you should be posting every single day as a business owner, right? Now, there are certain ways that you can, of course, automate the process. You can hire VAs, which are virtual assistants, like social media managers, to post for you and respond to comments and DMs and things like that. And that's a different conversation. But essentially, you want to be posting every single day. Remember, like I said, Instagram is a mashup of Facebook and TikTok. Remember, TikTok is that viral content, like that popcorn type content, things that are quick in people's head and then quickly out. And then Facebook has the versatility to it. So you're mashing those two on Instagram. And like I said, you want to utilize all of these because you'll touch every different avenue. But when you're posting every day, you're staying fresh on people's mind, right? On Instagram, right? When you're looking at people's stories, have you ever wondered how you always basically see the same 3 people in the first 3 story bubbles? That's because normally they're posting consistent enough. And also sometimes you'll be like, okay, well, sometimes I watch this one person's story once or twice, and now all of a sudden they're always in my top 3. That's simply because honestly, sometimes all it takes is for somebody to watch your story once, or maybe they're watching somebody else's story, and you know how the next story pops up right after. And if you are consistent in posting, you will always end up being on the front of their mind, on the front of their story, right, at the top of their feed whenever you're posting, right? So you can't expect to find what's going to work for your business online if you're not posting consistently, right? You need to post consistently and on a regular basis, but also post value content. You don't want to just be posting necessarily any and everything. Now, starting off, of course, be versatile in what you post. Don't always think that what you think is perfect is going to work for your audience, because most times, 9 times out of 10, your audience might want something different. Even though it's in the same niche, they will have different questions that you can ask, because normally you already have the answers to all the questions you know, right? So you need to be asking your audience, hey, what do you all want to see more of, right? And that can be extra things that you post content about. You don't always need to be the one that's thinking of the content to post. Ask your audience what they're interested in. Ask your audience, hey, what do you all want to see more of? What questions do you have on whatever specific niche you do? And they will give you the content that you need to post. Yo, what's going on? Look, if you're a college athlete who actually wants to start making sure you take advantage of your time, energy, and money, that you actually want to start building a brand to not only create a brand for yourself, but actually start obtaining these NIL partnerships, I want you to go ahead and not only subscribe to this channel, because I'll be dropping major amounts of gems. I actually want you to also follow myself on all my social medias at alex.n.turner on Instagram, SportsTalk with Turner on Instagram, and ST with Turner on Twitter, okay? Because I'm going to be dropping an immense amount of value and actually have a mentorship that's coming up, and I want to make sure that you all are actually able to take advantage of that, all right? Because I will be giving you weekly, maybe even sometimes daily tips, tricks, and gems to actually start building your brand, building that name, image, and likeness around yourself, so you can actually start being able to take advantage of all the opportunities, all right? So make sure you stay tuned in, tap in, and go ahead and follow for more. All right, let's go. Now, you also want to make sure that you're following trends and what's already working. So, popular or trending audio, right? I know we've all seen a reel before, and it had some like one of the popular songs out, like the new Beyonce album. I swear I see that on like every other reel. Or let's just say, the motivational speeches that you see over people working out or cars or whatever the case is, right? These are all trending audios that people are using to help boost their content. So when you're using a popular and trending audio to help boost your content, right, it will allow more people to see it, simply because people are already using that sound a lot. So people will then hit that sound either to create content or literally just to look at whatever content is created within that trending audio. Excuse me. A trick that I like to use when it comes to trending audio. Now, this is just for me, simply because I'm not sitting here saying all this like I have all the followers in the world. I have just over 3,000 followers, but I still get consistent. And sometimes I do still get shadow banned. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't, because I've recently started revving up on how much I've posted. But then once you get out that shadow ban, right, your content will all of a sudden just start to explode. But part of that is with trending audios, right? So because I don't have, 10, 20, 30,000 followers or over 100,000 followers, right? When I use trending audios, I like to make sure my trending audio has less than 50,000 reels created on that. Because think about it like this. If it has over 50,000 reels or 100,000 reels created with that audio, or 200,000, whatever the case may be, your page is already so small that it won't have the opportunity to be looked at of the top of the reels when somebody hits that trending audio, right? Because 9 times out of 10, the people who are quote unquote called influencers, which are people who have 10,000 followers or more, they're the ones whose content is probably being pushed the most, especially with those trending audios, especially with the ones that have over 50,000. So you want to make sure you're staying within 1,000 reels and 50,000 reels created with whatever trending audio, just to make sure your content is able to push out as best as it can. Also, making sure you're paying attention to social media trends, right? You don't have to do every single trend. You don't have to do all the types of trends, right? But making sure you're paying attention to what's already trending on social media, because more than likely, you can make it relate to whatever your niche is. So whether that's a dance move, I know this one woman on, I don't know her personally, but there's this one woman I follow on social media, and she's like a dental hygienist. I hope I said that right. And she does dance moves. She doesn't really speak. She does dance moves, but then has words pop up in the screen as she does the dance moves, right? So just because dancing doesn't necessarily relate to dentistry, that doesn't mean she can't use it. She still found a creative way to use it to her advantage while still using trending audios in the same sense. Also, you can do challenges. I know a while back, I don't know any current challenges. I'm honestly not big on doing the challenges myself for the dance moves. I feel like I don't want to dance. But I know the ice bucket challenge, like way back when, right? Or the cinnamon challenge or whatever. Like when people do these challenges, you can hop in and still find creative ways to add your brand and add your niche to it. And whatever, of course, trending topics or news that's going on, you can still use all of those to tailor towards your business, because you want to make sure that you're reaching the most amount of people that you can. Also, you want to make sure you're finding out what's working in your niche. So do research on your competitors. If you are in credit, right, go find the top 10 people who do credit. All right, you should get at least 10 competitors. You can get as many as you want, really, but you want at least 10 of your competitors, right? Because what you'll do is you'll pay attention to the post that they're posting, what gets the most traction on their post, what they're talking about, and then you copy that same thing, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't reinvent the wheel. If there's only so much stuff to talk about within your niche anyway. So it's okay to talk about the same thing, right? But just talk about it in your own unique way. So figure out what's working from your competitors, right? Because they're already giving you the blueprint to success. And then, of course, participation. You have to be present within your own brand. Just doing that, right? You can start your own trend. All these trends start somewhere, right? So just being present, being unique in your own brand can be a trend that eventually gets started. You never know what will take off. I know somebody who he posts 3 times a day, and it's all from his podcast, right? But sometimes his audios, one of his audios ended up getting like, one of his reels ended up getting like over a few million views. And then I want to say people created like 20 to 30,000 reels just based on his trending audio. He created a trending audio without even knowing it. So just being present and unique in your own brand can end up causing a trend without you realizing it. And then the last thing you want to do is make sure you automate your social media. There are many, many, many different ways to automate your social media, and comments and frequently asked questions depending on what platform you're using. So just make sure you do the research on figuring out how you can automate your social media. One way I'll tell you is, you all have probably seen this. You might not necessarily paid attention to it, but just think about it, right? Let's just say you're DMing a page that you've never DM'd before. And before you're able to even send a message, they have like frequently asked questions in their DM, right? That's a way to automate whatever it is. So if you're doing credit, right? Or I do, like I said, I do branding for college athletes. So I have, and they give you like 5 different questions that they can tap on and you can give automatic answers to. I have questions that all relate to how can I work with you? What is NIL? Or how can I get NIL deals if I've never gotten it before? Whatever the case is, you take your most frequently asked questions, put that as the questions in your DM automations, and the second they tap it, boom, they'll get an auto response with whatever content value or response that you're able to give to them. And I know we're running low on time, but I do want to show you all one more thing, right? This is essentially a SOP. It's a social media framework on how you should be posting on your social media. Now, this is my dumbed down version simply because I've recently edited to something a lot more complex per se, just because, like I said, I have somebody who manages my social media for me. I have a virtual assistant who literally handles all of my posting, all of my responding to DMs, comments. She does the research for me on my competitors and gives me a weekly report on the 3 top posts that they have, if it was a carousel or a reel, what trending audio they used, all of that. But just to kind of give you all a gist, right? This is why you want to be posting every single day, right? And the best post you can do is a reel. Now, I know that a lot of people don't like necessarily being in front of the camera. You don't need to be in front of the camera to create a reel. right? And even if you are comfortable with being in front of the camera, a good way to start is just telling somebody the very first step and what they need to do and whatever your niche is. So you can take your phone and say, this is the first step that you need to do when doing X. These are the 2 things to avoid when doing X. And X will be, of course, whatever your niche is, whatever you help your consumer base with. So like I said, just a quick run review, and I'm just going to explain this one play, right? Before I get off and allow questions. Drop a 2 in the chat if you've ever seen an infomercial, like one of those late night infomercials at, 5, 6, 7 in the morning, like 2, 3 in the morning, or whatever the case is. Drop a 2 in the chat if you've ever seen one of those late night infomercials. And they've been doing it for years, and they still do them. You want to know why they do them? Because they work. And you can do infomercials on your social media, right? You create, now this is something I got from my mentor. This is not, something I thought on my own, but it works, right? Just think about it like this. If you, normally when people are up that late at night, they either can't sleep, or maybe they just came in late from partying or whatever the case is, but more times than not, they're up and their mind is just going, their mind is running. And they're normally thinking of ways to get out of their current position and do better, right? So if you do credit and somebody has a crappy credit score, they're trying to start a business and they need funding, right? You can make a post that says, if you're interested in getting funding for your business and building your credit, DM me the word credit now. Very simple, right? But what it does is it adds what's called a CTA, a call to action. You're solving basically whatever the problem is, saying if you're interested in funding for your business, boom, or building your credit score, boom, that's 2 pain points, right? Like I said, people run from pain quicker than they run to pleasure. You're telling them the pain they have is they have a crappy credit score and they don't know how to get money for the business. You just basically gave them, in a sense, an answer for both of those. So in doing so, you already have their attention, and then you're telling them with a CTA, which is a call to action, which is basically a call to action. If you're not familiar, that can be, we've all seen it YouTube before. They say, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this, or share this to someone who needs it, or save this for later. All those are call to actions. A call to action is essentially telling them to do something, because although they might have liked it in their mind or meant to share it in their mind, if you don't tell them what to do, in my opinion, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it. So doing that, DM me the word credit, or DM me the word, whatever, catchphrase or word you want, that's automatically telling them, hey, I have the solution to the problem that you need. So go ahead and DM me now. Let's just say you post this every single night, and the key is to archive it in the morning so it doesn't show up on your page. You want to create scarcity whenever you're doing this, right? But let's just say you post this every single night and you're posting every single day, right? That means you've done it 365 times. Let's just say of all that, only 150 people DM you within the year, right? And of the 150 people that DM you, let's just say they all buy, whatever $47 ebook you have. Now, 150 people buying a $47 ebook, that's just over $7,000 in sales that you made for a year. Now, of course, that's not necessarily a lot, but think about it like this, all right? My mentor always says this: amateurs make money on the front end, professionals make money on the back end. So you're not focused on the initial sale. You just now have 150 new clients that you otherwise would not have had if you didn't do the overnight post. And this is just people who are on the overnight post. It's not the people who hit you up about all the other daily posts that you do during the day, right? So let's just say of those 150 people, right? Let's just say as you continue to build your business, and you should be documenting everything, you create a mentorship. You have a 3-month mentorship. Somebody pays you $5,000 for this mentorship, where they can work with you for 3 months and you'll help them do whatever, your niche is, whatever that desired outcome. Let's just say of those 150 people, only 15 people get it. That's 10%, right? If you provide value, right? Price is only an issue if value is absent. So if you're going to provide value, they're going to purchase. So if only 15 people get this offer for $5K, and truthfully, $5K is on the low end, But if only 15 people get this offer for $5K, you still just make $75,000 for a 3-month mentorship. You see what I'm saying? And that's on top of the 7,000 you made earlier, and not including all the other digital products that you'll of course be selling, the value you'll be getting, and once you get monetized, this, that, and the third. And before I close out, I'm just going to show you all the new SOP template that I've created. As you all see, says Monday, Tuesday, it goes all the way to Sunday. This is essentially what my new one looks like. And this is what they do for me in a day. All of this, all of that. This is what they do for me in a day. And there's still stuff at the bottom that they do. I'm revamping my website, so I'm going to create a blog. I send out emails and text messages essentially on a daily basis. They post on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for me on a daily basis. That's 6 different platforms that I have them doing. And I'm very detailed on what I want them to do, simply because in order to be prolific, you must be specific, okay?
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much. And we're definitely going to have you on probably the top of next year. We'll definitely have you back in the community. So everyone have a good night. Thank you so much for attending the masterclass, and we will see you next week.
For all my college athletes out there who actually want to start taking advantage of their brand and start obtaining these NIL deals, I want you to go ahead and click the link below. Get my new ebook, How to Grow Your Wealth Before the Game, 3 steps to making $100,000 before the pros, all right? This book will have so much value on how to actually start making money, not only with NIL, but outside of NIL as well. So go ahead and hit the link below and take advantage of the opportunity. Let's go.